be coming up as a result from this match. Now, Papua New Guinea face Tahiti here this afternoon, and in a week's time we'll be traveling over to Papeete. Following that, Papua New Guinea take on the Solomon Islands in Honiara in June. And then after that, it's been announced that Lae will host the return leg when Papua New Guinea face the Solomon Islands. Roughly 30 degrees down here in Port Moresby, though it does feel like 36. Lots of humidity as we await the arrival of both national teams. You can just see the FIFA Fair Play flag being brought out. The game is all about that, and this afternoon we will be seeing both teams open for a positive result. Now, the first meeting last year had PNG striker Raymond Gunemba grab a brace to put Papua New Guinea ahead by 2-0 after 65 minutes, but Tahitian resolve had them fighting back. And despite losing captain Nicholas Valar with a red card, Alvin Tehau and his cousin Tanui Tehau equalized with only 10 minutes of regulation time remaining. You can, of course, could have imagined the reactions after that particular match. Tahiti coach Ludovic Gronyard, that he praised on his players, especially for their mental strength and the approach they took. I can, however, recall PNG's maestro Flemin Siritslev expressing a lot of disappointment. Papua New Guinea had the numerical advantage and, of course, a 15,000-man boisterous crowd behind them. Not to mention, of course, their 2-goal advantage. In the 4 matches that PNG and Tahiti have played, the Melanesians have never beaten Tahiti. In a number of interviews leading up to today, however, Flemin Siritslev has maintained that Papua New Guinea will not make the same mistakes, and it is something we've been told that has also been on the minds of the players under his tutelage. But firstly, they need to perform against Tahiti this afternoon. The Papua New Guinea side has changed a lot since last June during the OFC Nations Cup. In 2016, PNG used only 15 players throughout the tournament, and out of those 15, only 8 of those remain. There was, of course, that whole political saga that occurred after the Under-20 Women's World Cup, which was immensely successful. But the result, Siritslev has scouted around, bringing in players from all across the world. He's introduced younger men as well, sourced from both the Under-20 and Under-23 sides, as well as players in from overseas. One of those players, David Brown, will probably highlight and headline the hosts, with, of course, Nigel Dabinyaba, who's had international stints in Malaysia and New Zealand. And there in the center of your screens you can see the Governor General, His Excellency Bom Darai, and the President for the Oceania Football Confederation, David Chung, as well as PNG Football Association Vice President John Wesley Gonjuan, and of course the team managers from Tahiti, Tamu Vanase. Interesting times have called for interesting measures, and we are no doubt in for an enthralling encounter. Only minutes now until kickoff as we take a look at the Iron Warriors Tahiti Le Feuillet, who will be taking on Papua New Guinea. There in the center, our referees for this afternoon's match, Salesh Chan from Fiji, Avinash Narayan also from Fiji, and the second assistant Bertrand Brial, while the fourth official Merik Laho, and both of those men from New Caledonia. You can just see him there with the blonde hair, Alwyn Comalong, who returned alongside with his brother just last week, and perhaps the highest quality player that Papua New Guinea has ever exported, the young David Brown. Michael Foster will captain Papua New Guinea for the first time in the absence of Raymond Gunemba and away from former captain David Muta.
Ladies and gentlemen, please
We stand now for the national anthems of Tahiti. Ia ora o Tahiti Nui, long live Tahiti, and now for the national anthem of Papua New Guinea. Michael Foster very composed, very focused, as he had stated to the media just last week in preparation for this match. A lot on the line here. Tahiti will know that a win will place them at the top of Group B, ahead of the Solomon Islands and Papua New Guinea. And of course for Papua New Guinea themselves, they will want a home win. The last time they did meet did end up in that draw, which I'm pretty sure will be on the minds of a number of the players here this afternoon. Tahiti themselves missing out on a number of that squad from 2016. In fact, this is a quite different lineup to the one that happened there before. You can just see both captains prepping their teams, getting ready for perhaps what will be one of the biggest matches that both sides will play. Papua New Guinea are of course ranked higher than Tahiti after the OFC Nations Cup from last year, where Tahiti finished in 5th place while Papua New Guinea did make it on towards the final. Now, on 4 officials for this afternoon: Celeste Chan from Fiji, Avinesh Narayan from Fiji, Bertrand Brial as well, and the 4th official, Mederic Lacour. Alvin Tehau, the captain for Tahiti, there will be a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Slight change considering the fact that they have lost a number of players. In fact, Jonathan Tehau, who starred for the side last time around, which was a qualifier in November, is not in this squad, as well as the former captain. But he's not the only one that will be debuting as captain. You can see his counterpart Michael Foster, who plays in the midfield for the Solomon Warriors. He was one of those players that Flamin Sritslev was hoping will be leading his young charges, and it is a very young side that Papua New Guinea have. Out of the 15 players that were used last season, only 8 remain, and of those 8, roughly 3 of them are in the first 11. Over to the Tahitian side, lots of experience, especially starting off with their goalkeeper Mike Roche. He's had a number of caps, 12 in fact. Whereas for Alvin Tehau, their captain, he leads in terms of experience. 19 times he's represented his country. And perhaps now more than ever, Tahiti will be calling upon his services in the midfield. Let's just take a look at the lineup for Tahiti. We start off with our goalkeeper Mika Roche at number 1, Tamiao Tiatia and Matatia Palma. While Tunoa Taverai will form the basis of their defense. Mnari Pulia Tenu Tehau, Sylvain Gralia, Mari Tehina, Hemaino Borabare, Tamatua Tutua, and Alvin Tehau. For Papua New Guinea, Ronald Warisan, the Comalong brothers in defense. Michael Foster, of course, alongside Nigel Dabinyaba, David Brown, Emmanuel Simon in defense, while Philip Stephen, Jacob Savoy, and Clement Willis makes his debut here this afternoon. 30 degrees, cloudy atmosphere, and of course the crowd ever building in preparation for this afternoon's match. Only seconds away until we start in this qualifier between Papua New Guinea and Tahiti for the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. It has begun. Ball out. Tiatia Papua New Guinea pressing forward. Rush slightly under pressure from Foster. Come along, easily covers. Outward ball passed again. Come along this time. First touch to Nigel Dabinyaba. Tahiti appearing composed. Gralia switches play. He receives it now. Bumped off the ball by Clement Willis. Good touch by the young Manusian. David Brown couldn't get a hold onto that. TAH tries to get the true ball. Steven covers. Foster. Brown pushing forward. We can see Patrick Guise, one of the fastest players Papua New Guinea has. And of course for David Brown, this is the first time and he concedes a penalty. PNG tried to push forward quickly. They decided just to hold back for the time being. You can see 3 players on the edge of the box. Tahiti though playing with a very orthodox 4-4-2 lineup. Poli and TAH up front. Compressed players all moving across. We've got 3 guys on the edge of the block. Foster moving in. Easily covered by Palmer. Tahiti pushing up. Felix come along under pressure. Very good. He's one of the tallest players Papua New Guinea has. However, right now, Gralia pushing forward. Willis under pressure. And a good switch in by Polia. Then easily covered by Papua New Guinea. Tahiti finding space straight through Papua New Guinea's middle. Gralia again, beaten off the ball. Polia, one touch back in. Willis, good cover. Brown touches it forward. David Brown again, trying to use his pace on the outside. Atatia Palmer had to scramble across in defense. Tahiti have been pushed at times, even against the Solomon Islands. They were accused of being a little bit too complacent. Alwyn Comalong, his first touch, plays it across to Ronald Warrison, who returns back in the country after OFC duties with Lay City Dwellers. He tries to go for a long ball forward, but the Tahitian defense covers that easily. Only as far as Jacob Sabua. Michael Foster couldn't get enough control on that, and Tavarai has possession back to Tahiti. Tries to touch it forward. TAH couldn't get a hold of that. And Philip Steven winning a corner. He didn't feature too much last year. In fact, only came off the bench for 5 minutes. He's in the first 11 this time, including that man, Patrick Isa. And it's the second time that Tahiti have committed an offense. You can tell just that there are slight bit of nerves here this afternoon. Remember, to an extent, this is really the first time a lot of these players will be facing off against each other. Looks like an in-swinger from Nigel Dabinyaba. We've got Alwyn Comalong and Michael Foster, both of them with height. Dabinyaba just couldn't switch that ball in. Sabua loses possession. Tahiti trying to press forward. Willis under pressure. And a good touch through by Manari Polier. Warrison easily takes it. I can remember last year's OFC Nations Cup. Warrison was not necessarily the crowd favorite at that point in time. Manuel Simon, good turn by Michael Foster, touches it forward. Jacob Sabua tries for the true ball. Nigel Dabinyaba is out wide. Decides to hold it just a little bit longer. And Sabua, you can't cut this back in. Tahiti under pressure very, very early on. 5 minutes in, Papua New Guinea winning their first corner of the match. Nervy start for the men in white. Confidence growing for Papua New Guinea. Dabinyaba tries to swing it in, easily taken by Mika Roche. And 33 years of age, he's one of the most experienced players that Tahiti have. Surprisingly, he gives the ball away easily. Steven defended that, but didn't really find anyone in particular. Only went as far as Tehina. Tahiti pushing forward, Polia. Tia. Good drive in, swings it across. Willis under pressure. And Sylvain Gralia decided to let that one go through, so a corner now for the visitors. Nervy start. Clement Willis, not necessarily the tallest player for Papua New Guinea, mistimed that header completely. Arnold Warison just could not get there in time. So a set piece now for Tahiti, and everyone seems to have dropped back for Papua New Guinea. Patrick Guise also tucked inside the goal for the home side. And will be an in-swinger from Tunoa Tavarai. Goes high. Goes past everyone actually. Papua New Guinea saving from that particular encounter. 6 minutes gone past in this 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia qualifier, and still 0-0 between host Papua New Guinea and currently first place in Pool B, Tahiti. Warison looking for Patrick Isa. Isa wins it, but not necessarily in the direction that he wanted. Tahiti pressing forward again. And a cool head knitted by Komalong. Warison looks for David Brown. Good cover by Tia. Brown. Simon right in front of the referee. Tahiti concede yet another foul. They are physically bigger than their Melanesian opponents, Tahiti. Brown. Willis behind him. Willis could not find Emmanuel Simon. Sabua though wins it. Isa loses out. In fact, the three of those players just mentioned all featured for Papua New Guinea in the PNG Under 23s squad for the Pacific Games. And they won their first medal after almost 28 years. Michael Foster just losing out there to Gralia. Come along. Didn't really find anyone in particular. In fact, Patrick Isa probably not the best of targets. Handball against Tahiti. You can almost feel the tension here at the Sejongkai Stadium. Obviously the home crowd that are here want the national team to win, but understandably this is of course Tahiti. Isa, Brown, and yet again Tahiti conceding penalties, and there might be a bit of bother now for Tunoa Tavaira. In fact, he receives his a yellow card, the first one of the match, very, very early on. And the defender will have to be very, very careful from now onwards. In fact, the last time both sides met, Tahiti's captain then had received his own red card after a series of challenges on PNG striker Raymond Gunemba, who incidentally will not feature today. There was a lot of hope circulating that Raymond Gunemba would make the start in 11. Unfortunately, that is not so. But Papua New Guinea now with an opportunity. Alwyn Komalong had a very close chance from the exact same position last year. David Brown's also over the ball, but instead it might be, yes it is, David Brown himself goes for the shot. And it swirls past Mika Roche. Again, Papua New Guinea showing their attacking intentions very early on. Flemin Seritslev himself has introduced a very European style of play here for the Melanesian country, and a very poor clearance by Roche. It doesn't appear that he was settled to take that goal kick. Philip Stephen looking for Michael Foster. Play on for Papua New Guinea. Celestian sees an infringement. Tia. There's only 2 players up front for Tahiti. Polia and Alvin Tehau. Come along, misses out. Warisan had to come out of his area. And safe hands from the Morabian goalkeeper. Goes high this time, still looking for those tall players that Papua New Guinea has up front. And again, another infringement. Captain Michael Foster appears nonplussed. Palma. Borabara. Tia. Tatura. Alvin Tehau with the ball, tries to slide it wide, does so. Gralia this time over the ball, good step over, trying to beat Philip Stephen. Stephen physically strong, pushes him off. It's a goal kick for the home side. Philip Stephen, who featured for the Rapatona side in last year's Telecom National Soccer League. This year, with the delay in the competition, he's playing with a local club down here in Port Moresby, FC Genesis. Saboa loses out. Physically, Papua New Guinea aren't as big as their opposition, but they do have pace, and one of those men with pace, Nigel Dabinyaba, appeals and wins the penalty. In fact, another very late challenge. This time by midfielder Sylvain Gralia. Dabinyabo was looking to step past him and use that blistering pace that he has. But just caught out there off the ball. So yet another infringement by Tahiti. The 4th, in fact. So this might be a bit of cause of concern. Dabinyaba over the ball. Might be looking to go direct. Just see Emmanuel Simon drifting on the edge of the box for Papua New Guinea. Dabinyaba goes low this time. And it appears he didn't really get a good grip on that ball. Papua New Guinea have had their chances. They haven't taken any direct shots on target. In fact, they've really haven't troubled Mikael Roche. Smaller crowd than last year. In fact, ticket sales for this match only started less than a week ago. Although organizers were hoping, and Papua New Guinea placed under a lot of unnecessary pressure. In fact, miscommunication between Alwyn and Felix Comalong. And you can see that man there, Manarai Polia, tried to sneak it over the top of Ronald Warison's head. Tahiti with the 2nd corner of the match. Looks like it's Sylvain Gralia that will take this. No, it's Manari Tehina. Tehina goes for the far post, but again misses everybody, although Tunot Tevara is still in possession. Philip Stephen wins it. Felix come along under pressure, couldn't get the best of clearances out, but Papua New Guinea still in possession. Stephen again to Dabinyaba. Papua New Guinea looking to use the pace that they have out wide. Sabwa tries to thread it through. Dabinyaba didn't quite expect it. Good cover again by Tavarai. Stephen, Dabinyaba. And then he steps through again. Michael Foster in front of him. He's got... And Emmanuel Simon just couldn't get the touch right in. Sabwa, direct for goal! And taps it just wide. There were a number of white shirts in front of him. Deflection. Corner for Papua New Guinea. Jacob Sabua, normally an attacking midfielding player. used, however, in a more defensive position for the host nation. Dabinyaba over the ball. David Brown near post. Felix come along in the box. His brother behind him, Michael Foster. The swing comes in, easily taken. Michael Roche. Papua New Guinea might be caught out here. Paulie is streaming forward. Clement Willis had to trace him. Willis still tagging by. Straight into the center. Tataria. Tahiti, good spell of possession, good in-swinger. Come along, couldn't get to it properly. Corner for Tahiti, end-to-end stuff here this afternoon. Ludovic Gronia, the Tahitian coach on the side, screaming towards his players to make the most of their opportunities. Rally over the ball. Tia couldn't get the swing in. Good defense by Nigel Dabinyaba. However, if Papua New Guinea do win possession of the ball in their own half, they have no players at all forward. And now Simon losing out. Tahiti playing expansive. Patrick Isa. And Tahiti with an incredible opportunity. And Paulie just couldn't get the connection that he wanted. So far, both sides have really troubled each other's opposition keepers. Fleming Siritzlev has always called for patience from his players. Although he might really want to say that it would be better if Papua New Guinea scored first, or to that extent at Tahiti. Come along, couldn't get the best of passes through. Good foot out. Dabinyaba. Sabua. Dabinyaba again. Goes for the cross instead. Tahiti under pressure, but there were no other players available. Clement Willis. And the referee calls for a stoppage in play as we seek a nasty challenge on defender Temiao Tia. And you can just hear a quiet echo of boos going against the referee's decision. If we look at the replay, it would have been Michael Foster. In fact, didn't appear to be anything really into it. But Tia caught out, in fact, by friendly fire from his own goalkeeper, Mika Roche. So 18 minutes gone by, and it's still 0-0 between Papua New Guinea and Tahiti. And there'll be a lot of pressure on the shoulders of that young man there, David Brown, who plays in Holland for FC Eintracht. And he was actually one of the players that Fleming Siritzlev, the national coach, had called for last year, but then because of duties within the Holland Everett DC, Brown could not make it. And you can just see, you rarely see this in international football. Ball over to Tahiti. And he just sends it long all the way to Ronald Warrison, who lets that bounce out for a goal kick for the home nation. A lot of people would not have been too happy about the match being hosted on a Thursday afternoon, but out there in the public there is still a lot more people streaming into the stadium here. Warrison, long. Sabua wins it. Brown, this time he's got Michael Foster up front. And Brown over the ball. Beats Tia. Goes for a good cross in. Patrick Isaac could not get the best of it, and while the balls ended up in the net, Dabinyaba did take out Mika Roche. And Tahitian players not too happy about the fact that there's a whole bunch of incidents just going on. Mika Roche not too happy with David Brown. Can you see Dabinyaba is smiling, although Mika Roche is absolutely furious. And we don't really Aren't really too sure what's happening right now, but Mika Roche is not a happy man for the visitors. And apparently, in fact, let's just take a look at that replay again. So we see David Brown swinging the left footer coming in. TAH was well and truly beaten. And the ball had gone in. Dabinyaba had gone for that. Acrobatic by Patrick Guise. And obviously Roche would not have been happy about that challenge onto him. Although there are players saying that there were issues on the sideline. Still a lot of hoo-ha going on the pitch. For the past couple of minutes we haven't seen much football being played here between both sides. And even you can see the entire Tahitian bench has moved across. And you can just see David Brown looking nonchalant. He does appear very, very confused. Although, to be honest, even here from the sideline, we don't really know what's going on this afternoon. Because a lot of it happened away from the action. And Celeste Chan just pushing everybody away. And David Brown being called over, and you can just see Bertrand Brial having a word, and it does appear like it might be a yellow card. And it's a straight red card. And it's a straight red card to midfielder David Brown. And there's a lot of shock reverbing around the stadium. So big news here, down in Port Moresby, David Brown sent off. And the home crowd not too happy. In fact, the men in red not too happy. Papua New Guinea losing one player after only 20 minutes of play. And a chorus of boos. In fact, let's just take a look at that again from David Brown, just to get a fair idea of what happened. And you can see Tia. Anyway, let's just get back straight to the action, and Mika Roche will commence proceeding. Roche now definitely not a crowd favorite here in Papua New Guinea. And Papua New Guinea under pressure, now with less players. Now conceding a penalty, Sylvain Agralia again. In fact, you can just tell Michael Foster there in the middle, just trying to organize his players. Tavera, or the ball, he might go wide, no doesn't. Goes nearby to Borabara. Tataria. Palma. Back to Tataria. Going direct this time. And Nui Tahau just losing out on that one. Papua New Guinea trying to reorganize themselves. In fact, I can see Jacob Sabua being pushed out towards the left-hand side. And most likely that will mean one less attacking player up front for Papua New Guinea. But they have played before with only 10 men. Teatua switches it this time. Valia running forward, but good cover by Clement Willis. Throwing for Papua New Guinea. Ronald Warrison has to be careful. That ball was already covered. Sabua brought down. To an extent, the match devaluating into an anger fest. Tahiti themselves have to be careful. Celeste Chan may not be too happy with that. In fact, Tavarai, he's already on a yellow card. And Elvin Tahau being called over. Elwin Komalong also not too happy. calls for calm. To an extent, we've really seen good football being played. Papua New Guinea with only 10 men going up against Tahiti. And Ronald Warisan taking this ball. He'll be looking at hitting a very long ball, perhaps towards Nigel Dabinyaba on the far side of the screen. Switches it towards him actually. Dabinyaba going high, loses out in that battle. Philip Stephen might take a shot. He does so. Papua New Guinea again taking yet another shot. But as always, you know, they've taken 3 shots on goal so far. Well, 5 in fact, and none of them have been really threatening at all. Roche. Come along, missed out on getting there. His brother Felix tries to drive it through himself. Dabinyaba. Isa. That wasn't the best of passes. Michael Foster back to Dabinyaba. He could touch it through Emmanuel Simon behind him. Nigel Dabinyaba runs past his defender, switches it in. And Tahiti cover in defense, but another corner for Papua New Guinea. Dabinyaba taking matters into his own hands. The loss of David Brown is of course massive for the host nation. But of course, Papua New Guinea have never been known to use excuses. Dabinyaba, lots of pace on the right hand side. Couldn't find Michael Foster in the center. He is again the forward. Plays a more central role for his club side. Out wide here for Papua New Guinea. Dabinyaba, low cross in. Emmanuel Simon. He couldn't get the touch that he wanted. Former Hikari player now up north with Lay City Dwellers. Tehina slowing play down. Titaria is with him. Patrick Guise pushing forward. Grass on the far side, not that slippery. A lot of Tahitian players though finding it uncomfortable for themselves. Dabinyaba. Tehina. Back to Philip Stephen. He might swing it in, doesn't. Drives himself, Philip Stephen. Threads it through. And again, Tahiti under pressure. Patrick Guise was lurking there in between defender and goalkeeper. Good cover though by Tahiti. And another corner for Papua New Guinea. They've had 5 so far. All of them from that far side. A lot less players than before inside the box. Dabinyaba, low swinging cross in. Philip Stephen on the outside. Not the best of crosses coming in. Roche had to get there. Dabinyaba this time. Good cover again. Dabinyaba still. Papua New Guinea still with the ball. Felix Komala over the top and outside. Foster went after it. Good spell of attacking possession by Papua New Guinea. Although none of that has resulted in a direct shot on goal. Mika Roche with it. And Tahiti just streaming forward. Poor clearance though by Mika Roche. Clement Willis, not the best of clearances either. Foster. And he loses out as well. Tahiti very settled. More players in attack, but an offside call might be given to Tainui to how it is. And still a lot of pressure for both sides. And we can just see right now the first substitution of the match. And it is Marama Amau for Tamihao Tiatia. It's a straight switch between defenders.
Substitution for Tahiti. Number 3, was replaced by
Ronald Warisan looking to get the PNG men's national team on their way. Patrick Guise running forward. Emmanuel Simon in possession. One touch. Michael Foster couldn't find Patrick Guise up front. Alvin come along. Plays it back to his goalkeeper, Ronald Warrison. He's got Dabinyaba there. He doesn't really find his own target. Philip Steven under pressure. Philip Steven beaten. Emmanuel Simon in possession. Both sides unable to maintain too much passing. There's a lot of missed passes that have happened. And Sylvain Gralia brought down by Clement Willis. Stepped past him but just couldn't. Willis a little too slow in reacting. Gralia, who was recently brought into the squad by Ludovic Grognard. So Tahiti now in possession of the ball, their fourth penalty of the match. And will come along calling his players back. I have both Murray, Tahia and Tataria over the ball. Warrison has to be careful. He did concede 2 goals in his past international matches from this angle. Tahina with it. Warrison acrobatic. Good save by the PNG goalkeeper. But it's a corner for Tahiti. He needed to be quick, although it did appear that that ball was still always going to make it over the bar. Tahiti now in possession. Te Nui Te Hao. There's a lot of height and weight about the Tahitian forwards. Papua New Guinea just compressing their defenders. Zinin swinging from. Poor save, not the best of clearances by Papua New Guinea. 3 men in the wall. And Jacob Saboa breaking forward, Dabinyaba with him. It passes forward to nobody in particular. There were 4 Tahitian defenders when that pass was made. Gralia again. Willis still with him. Willis wins it. Foster. And a nice threaded through ball for Patrick Isa. Isa still moving forward. And Tahiti just scrambling in defense. Come along is there. Using his head, heads it back to Ronald Warrison. Come along. Foster is there in the center. Back to Warrison. Philip Stevens gone wide. Dabinyaba drifting in. And Warrison sending it long when Dabinyaba wasn't waiting for it. And it's back with Tahiti. Tataria plays it back to Rush. Dabinyaba pushing forward. Papua New Guinea are being played about with at the moment. Every single time a pass is made forward. Overextending their forward players. And finding themselves caught out like just right now. Has to be careful, Willis. When he does win it, sorry. Willis making his first and full international debut. And as appears as if we will be taking a break, and we can just see some of the 12th man fan club who are part of the PNG national football team supporters club. The 12th man formed by former PNG and current Hikari captain David Mutta during the 2015 Pacific Games, when Papua New Guinea did feature heavily. And a lot of the guys that are in the 12th man squad were the ones that were accused of bringing their kundu drums here into this Sejongkai Stadium and other venues in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. A water break being called right now, as is normal depending on the conditions, especially here in the Pacific. Port Moresby has experienced fluctuations to an extent in terms of the weather. Hot and sunny yesterday, today very much overcast. Although we'll probably have to say that these type of conditions will preferably suit the 21 men that are playing right now this afternoon. 35 minutes gone in the 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia qualifier, the stage 3 match between Tahiti and Papua New Guinea. We can see a former PNG defender, Sammy Campbell, there on the bench, along with the former president for the Pomorsby Soccer Association, Mark Kellep. They haven't seen him in a while out here at these major events, but no doubt he will be very happy with what he sees here this afternoon. And the match resumes. Papua New Guinea, obviously Fleming Siritslev there on the sideline, would have been given or barking a lot of instructions to his players, considering the fact that the host nation is one man down. So far, there have been roughly 10 corners taken, 5 apiece for both PNG and Tahiti. Although the majority of fouls have come from, or did initially come from, the visitors, until the loss of midfielder David Brown only 10 minutes ago. Tahiti, good clearance there. Papua New Guinea still in possession of the ball. Clement Willis tried to get an early pass out, but then another Foster or Isa were actually facing him. Foster this time. Not the best of balls. Come along. Teanui Tehau. Good cry of turn. Michael Foster in possession. Foster still in possession. Dabinyaba's forward. Back to Jacob Sabua. They couldn't maintain control on it. Good passing spell by Tahiti. Palma is forward. Teanui Tehau forward. Alvin Tehau forward. Gralia switch from the right to the left. Philip Stephen under pressure. And come along steps Dabinyabas with it. Papua New Guinea, if he can switch it early, he's got Jacob Sabua on his left hand side. Dabinyaba going himself. He couldn't use his pace, however, still wins possession. Emmanuel Simon, man on though. Nice turn, Papua New Guinea might switch it. Dabinyaba. He might take Tahina again, sorry. Tahitian names are a mouthful. Clearance for Papua New Guinea, though they do have territory at the moment. Simon. Philip Stephen. When Komalong has dropped very deep, as Papua New Guinea slowly tried to switch from left to right. Warison. PNG playing with a cool head. Not a lot of movement, so Warison goes long. Even Dabinyaba doesn't want to touch it. Tataira opted instead just to head it out wide. In fact, considering the past 8 matches that Papua New Guinea has played, including Iran, Malaysia, and of course the OFC Nations Cup, by their standards, this is a very slow pace to the game. Dabinyaba, Isa. Good turn by Patrick Isa. Michael Dabinyaba. Michael Foster's there in the center. Dabinyaba just couldn't get the pass that he wanted out. PNG still in possession. Stephen. Michael Foster tries to turn, loses out. Tahiti back in possession, but Papua New Guinea have 4 men there in defense. Gralia one-on-one against Felix Komalong. He wins out. Philip Stephen. 3 PNG forwards are offside at the moment. Philip Stephen couldn't find any one of them. Lost possession instead. Teanui Tehau, good through ball. Palma, Tahiti with a chance. Ronald Warison almost drops that as well. Nervy from PNG's goalkeeper. Simon. PNG opted to walk the ball forward. Simon again. Foster back to Komalong. Across to his brother Felix. Dabinyaba was calling for it. But again, that conjunction between defense and attack for Papua New Guinea, in fact for both sides, struggling at the moment to find the rhythm that they need. Amal. Palma. Touches it straight in the center for Borabara. Palma again. Philip Steven, poor clearance. Alvin Tehau, one touch forward. Palma, Polio, sorry. And Sylvain Gralia might be caught offside. In fact, the referee, yes, he does call offside. Slight delay between the moment the flag was raised to when the whistle was blown. And Gralia being caught out. So let's just take a look at that again. Portier, wonderfully threaded ball and a good shot by the striker. Ronald Warisan had to be acrobatically good in that particular instance. Offside call given. PNG not really too desperate to press forward. It'll be interesting to see what changes are made in the second half. Isa, good cover by Mama Amal. Sabua just couldn't get there. It's not the confident PNG team that we saw last year. And Tahiti, for that matter, aren't the side that we saw as well during the Nations Cup. Although you could say that that was a different tournament to the one that we're seeing right now. But it is still a World Cup qualifier. Willis couldn't find his former teammate. Willis loses out again. Didn't really expect that. Teanui Tehau now switched to the right hand side. Sivain Agrania over on the left. And a handball against Teanui Tehau. He'll be one of the many players that Tahiti are looking for to at least get the ball behind the back of the net. Warison, come along. Sent it forward, but Jacob Sabua, not normally used to playing as a forward. Normally you'll find him in the midfield. In fact, at the start of the match, he was used in a defensive midfielding position. Yet another infringement by Tahiti. Though Celeste Strand pulling no cards out this time. You can just see this time Emmanuel Simon pushing forward, although he's calling for Alwyn Komolong. Papua New Guinea taking no chances in defense on the sideline there. Fleming Siritslev, you can just see him at the bottom of your screen, barking out instructions. He remains at this point in time perhaps the most experienced coach in the Pacific. So it's Alwyn Komolong to Papua New Guinea. Long ball in, couldn't find anybody. Dabinyaba was placed in an offside position. You would have thought Komolong would have gone directly for goal in this instant. He didn't. Mikael Roche, slow in play down. Although at this point in time you don't really know how much slower the match can go. Close ball. Willis under pressure. I don't know where someone was there. He already marked the run of Teanui Tehau. Felix Komolong. Michael Foster's in an onside position. Philip Stevens moving out wide. Patrick Isa instead. He's got a lot of pace. Just could not get the bounce that he wanted. Papua New Guinea maybe looking to up the ante at this point in time. Foster. Papua New Guinea in play. In fact, I'm not sure who it is. Looks like Jacob yes, it is Jacob Sabua. From here. Not too sure what happened. In fact, we'll just have to take a look at what the replay says. Emmanuel Simon touched it through. Although, in any case, it's a penalty for Papua New Guinea. Yet another one, yet another infringement by both sides. If you take into account the number of bumps and bruises that both players might have, both opposition players might have after the end of this match, it might be more than actual passes made. And yet another yellow card for Tahiti. Midfielder Heimano Burabare. Let's just take a look at what happened. In fact, it's a nasty challenge by the midfielder. Unintentional, most likely. And Dabinyaba has scored for Papua New Guinea against the run of play, and with 10 men down, and the celebrations on his face tell the feeling and emotion for the home side. Papua New Guinea have taken a 1-0 lead against Tahiti with 10 men down after an in-swinging penalty from Elwin Komolong found Nigel Dabinyaba's head. Mika Roche did not expect that. And right at the death of halftime, Papua New Guinea 1, Tahiti 0, and this match looks like it might just whip into action. Tahiti at this point in time look absolutely stunned. They look confused, and there's 4 minutes left of the first half. The crowd already on their feet. Papua New Guinea, like before, do know that that this is the time that they're needed the most. 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier between Papua New Guinea and Tahiti, and it is 1-0 in favor of the host nation. Tahiti now pushing forward. Marama Amauk steps past Clement Willis, goes for a cross coming in. Felix Komolong, poor clearance. Bora tries to touch it through to Tanui Tehau, he couldn't. Komolong switches, chest on, Michael Foster might tap it on, can't be able to. Vieira wins it, Clement Willis again. Emmanuel Simon, fighting. And Emmanuel Simon might win possession. Yes, Emmanuel Simon wins possession for Papua New Guinea. Willis was looking for Foster, but then Sabua is available. And you can tell from the sideline, Ludovic Gronya not too happy at the manner in which his defenders are just hacking the ball away. Willis for Papua New Guinea. Sabua play on, says the referee. One touch out. No, it's not. Possession for Tahiti. But it appears that Papua New Guinea have been whipped into action after that goal by Nigel Dabinyaba on 45 minutes. Alvin Tehau couldn't get there. Teanui, Komolong. Unorthodox pass. Willis still in possession. Patrick Isa streaming forward. Willis to Isa, might touch it back in. Isa still with possession. Tahiti players were scrambling back. Papua New Guinea have so many times tried to use those very short passes. Tahiti under pressure by Papua New Guinea. Although coolly they try to clear it, can't get the clearance that they want. Komolong. And again, not the best of passes by PNG centre back. Upon arrival from the United States, in fact, just stepping off the plane within half an hour, he was on the pitch joining his teammates. And I'd asked him what it was like being back here in the country. Komolong, very happy to be here. And Celeste Chand has found an infringement straight in the center. There might be a problem for PNG captain Michael Foster. Not too sure what's happened. Although the referee not having any of it. Deep into extra time in this first half match between Papua New Guinea and Tahiti. 1-0 in favor of the host nation. Home side, sorry. Alwyn Komolong over the ball. Almost in the same position as 4 minutes ago when PNG scored. Michael Foster's pushed up as well. Komolong, same kick. Tried to find Dabinyaba again. Philip Steven in position. Felix Komolong, this time Patrick Isa's onside. Dabinyaba. Tahiti, good cover in defense, and the referee calls it halftime. But I can guarantee you this, unlike 15 minutes ago, the stadium this time has a lot more confidence, especially for the home side Papua New Guinea, having a lot more confidence in this match than when they first started. Although there will be a lot of things to talk about for both benches. Most likely for Tahiti, they'll be disappointed that they haven't really taken advantage of their numerical strength at this point in time, especially considering that halfway through the first half, Papua New Guinea lost perhaps the player that they were really trying to count on leading up to today's qualifier. And you can just see another player there from Papua New Guinea, George Sleffendorfus. He hasn't been named in the first 11 for PNG, which was surprising considering the fact he'd been with the national team for the past 3 weeks. So even though this is a Thursday afternoon match, organizers had said that they weren't too hopeful that there would be a very big crowd, although just on the outside you can still see a lot of people streaming in. And I can just guarantee you this, that there'll be a lot of happy people there on the sidelines. Not normally the crowd that you'd want to see, but no doubt Papua New Guinea very, very happy with the fact that they've taken a 1-0 lead over Tahiti. Most likely in terms of the changes that might be made for Papua New Guinea themselves, they do have a number of attacking players. However, let's just take a look at some of the highlights from the first half match between Tahiti and Papua New Guinea, and let's just take a look at and see what they are right now. Well, both sides had been arriving here hoping for far better than the draw that they'd had during last year's OFC Nations Cup. Michael Foster captaining the side for the first time. There had been a lot of challenges being made left, right and center, and that meant there David Brown was hoping to feature very, very heavily for the national team. In fact, he took one of the first shots on target, forcing goalkeeper Mika Arosh. Dabinyaba had also been brought down. However, Tahiti did have their own chances, although to an extent both goalkeepers really untroubled to an extent. In this particular instance here, you can see David Brown there when he took on Tamiha Tia. And many had thought that that was a good attacking opportunity for Papua New Guinea. However, controversially, after this particular play by David Brown, he'd actually been brought off or taken out of the match with a red card that was handed to him. David Brown, who plays for Holland, the Dutch side FC Eintracht. And Papua New Guinea to an extent did continue attacking after that. Tahiti did have their chances. This was probably one of their best ones. Sylvain Gralia taking that. And there he was again when switched from right to left. Perhaps the strongest and most attacking player, although the number 10, Te Nui Te Hau. And then of course, near towards the half-time break, that swinger from Alwyn Comalong finding forward Nigel Dabinyaba. And a mistimed jump by Mikael Roche had seen Papua New Guinea take that 1-0 lead. And soon after that goal had gone, that changed the dynamics of this afternoon's match. Papua New Guinea soon having belief. And for this afternoon's match, so you can see the PNG bench doesn't have too many strikers. You do have Sammy Kini and Donovan Murray up front. Now, statistics as they stand, Papua New Guinea with 4 shots on target for Tahiti's 3. Half of those have reached their mark. In terms of penalties against and fouls, Tahiti dominating the chance at the moment, although they've had two bookings, so two yellow cards to their name, while for Papua New Guinea, David Brown marks out with a red card. In terms of corners, it has been 4 corners apiece, and to an extent in terms of possession we can even say a 50-50, although a lot of the times, I have to be honest, the match has been spent with players on the ground rather than actually passing the ball. The Tahiti bench does feature a number of attacking players, including Manuari Hawata. He may even feature later on today. Gronyard has not brought the full complement of his squad. In fact, only 16 players made this afternoon's match. Well, over for Papua New Guinea, they have to an extent a largely different bench to the one that took part last year. Just by looking at the names here, in fact, none of them played for Papua New Guinea. We'll take a short break now and return with the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier for Russia between Papua New Guinea and Tahiti. Second half in the match between Tahiti and Papua New Guinea as both sides looking to qualify for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Papua New Guinea with 10 men after the send-off of midfielder David Brown in the first half, and are leading this particular match by 1-0 against Tahiti. The first half had been dominated by a number of infringements by both sides, and we now have Patrick Guise and Emmanuel Simon up front for the home side. And Simon tries to go long, looking for Nigel Dabinyaba. Tahina under pressure, although it's a goal kick for the visitors. Tahiti weren't exactly the favorites by fans when they arrived, and they certainly weren't after the commencement of the second half. But it's still Papua New Guinea 1, Tahiti 0. And not the best of passes by Tataira. Ronaldo Arson, safe hands by the PNG goalkeeper, urging his players forward. He goes very long, looking for Jacob Sabua out wide for PNG. Tavares, who received a yellow card in the first half, under pressure in the midfield. Sabua still in possession. Clement Willis, PNG pressing players forward. Patrick Guise beaten his first defender. Nigel Dabinyaba couldn't thread it through, looking for Jacob Sabua. Patrick Guise in front. And Tahiti scrambling to get that ball clear. Tehina only goes as far as Emmanuel Simon. Come along, sliding tackle. Mikael Rush will take this. There'd been a lot of hope in fans that the ball would go in, but Rush had his eye on the ball the entire time. Clement Willis couldn't find Jacob Sabua. And Marama Amahu came in the match after 25 minutes. And it's Tataura. Tavarai. Good cover by Clement Willis. There'd been a lot of pressure in the first half, whereas now Patrick Guise, Papua New Guinea haven't been able to make full use of his pace. Though he's playing as a lone striker, as PNG revert to a 4-4-1 formation. Come along, driving forward. He loses out. Amau. Tataria. Tehau. Polia. Good cross coming in. Clement Willis under pressure. Chance for Tahiti. Sivan Gralia though couldn't get that strike in. Willis missed the first bounce. Had to fight back the young Papua New Guinean. 3 minutes into the first half, and Tahiti with their first corner of the second half. Gralia, high swinging ball. Palmer, head on. Warisan, good save. And another Tahitian player down. It appears it's Tamatoa Tataura, the defender. Warisan had been watching that as it came through. Has been accused of being very theatrical at times. Stephen. Isa. Might go back to Patrick Stephen. There are 3 Rabatona players here. Patrick Isa couldn't get around Tataira. Dabinyaba. Dabinyaba tries to drive through himself. He is outnumbered. Tahiti playing very, very direct at this point in time. Melvin Tehau. And a poor pass. Sylvain Gralia had wanted that ball from Porabare. Orison. Poor clearance going straight into the air, looking for Dabinyaba. Philip Stephen. Isa. Foster. Back to Patrick Isa. He might go direct. Couldn't get the pass that he wanted. Philip Stephen. Good sliding challenge. Dabinyaba. Straight through ball. Emmanuel Simon. Back to Dabinyaba. Isa had left it. Sub was on the edge of the box on the other side. Dabinyaba driving himself, but outnumbered by players. Dabinyaba still with it. Emmanuel Simon lays it up for Michael Foster. Out of range. Papua New Guinea taking a shot though. You might have expected that shot to come in a little bit earlier. Willis. Sabwa. Foster. Back to Elwin Comalong. Foster. Felix Comalong this time. PNG players. Isa's walking. Dabinyaba's there. Simon. Could not get the pass that he wanted, and it might be a break for TAH. Dabinyaba though, defensive duties for the home nation. And a chance for Papua New Guinea. Jacob Sabwa, edge of the box. And called offside. Have not really seen PNG turn the style on, although it might only be a matter of time. Warison under pressure. And Comalong not too happy with his goalkeeper. Borabara. Tevaerai. Philip Stephen. Back to Tevaerai though. Elvin Tahal to his cousin Teanui Tahal. Tahal swings it. Comalong. Good reach for it. Patrick Isa might hold on to it himself. Although brought off the ball by Borabara. Isa complaining, but it is still play on for Tahiti. Gralia. And Clement Willis takes him on. Amau. Palma. Tevaerai. Necessarily brought off the ball by Michael Foster, and he'd already known that he had. You can just see the replay. Michael Foster, late challenge on defender Matati Apama. Just signs of frustration from Papua New Guinea to an extent. They have had good possession. They haven't really made full use of it. Amau out wide for Tahiti. Gralia. The Willis was there. Sabua wins it. Long ball forward to nobody in particular. And Papua New Guinea do push up as a result. Palma. Roche. Tetaura. Still with Roche. Patrick Isa's chasing for it. Out wide to Gralia. He's moved back into that right side position with Tehau now on the left. Sabwa. Sabwa wins it. Borabara has to be careful. He is on a yellow card from the first half. Yet another foul for Tahiti. Warison coming up to take it. There'll be a lot more pressure on him to act as another attacking player for PNG. He goes direct, and they're only as far as Mikael Roche. Roche trying to find Tehau, does so. Touches it back into the center, but there are Papua New Guinean players there. Dabinyaba. Michael Foster. And Foster again wins a penalty. Just another slow up moment in this match. It's not something that Fleming Siritslev will be too happy about. Come along. Steven. Dabinyaba. Dabinyaba back to Philip Steven. Though Steven's cross, not the best of ones. In fact, that wasn't even a cross. It did appear like he was looking to gain a corner out of that. Instead gives the ball back to Tahiti. Mika Roche, long ball. Clement Willis. Looking for Jacob Sabua. Sabua still in possession. Sabua using pace. Sabua wins it. And while there were players in the box, including Patrick Guise, Jacob Sabua decides to take the shot himself. The PNG fans on their feet, but the result is only Tahiti back in possession with the ball. Mika Roche looking to go long. Tahiti players slowly walking forward. The heat and humidity of Port Moresby may to an extent affect them. Patrick Guise in possession. Poor clearance by Mika Roche. Guise tries to go himself. Simon Dabinyaba, true ball. Patrick Guise left it. There was nobody there. Roche goes out wide. Grala will just leave it. For some reason, for the past 3 minutes, Sylvain Grala has been very frustrated with his goalkeeper, Mika Roche, who just hasn't been able to get the best of balls out. Michael Foster now streaming in. Appeals for a penalty, however, Celestian just calls a corner. Although, looking at the replay, Michael Foster, PNG captain, did appear to be brought down on the edge of the box, although rather too easily. 56 minutes gone, Papua New Guinea 1, Tahiti 0, corner for PNG. Emmanuel Simon going across to take it. Emmanuel Simon swings it. Covered by Tahiti. Nui Tehau plays it forward. Polia still with the ball. They have to be careful here, Papua New Guinea. Clement Willis outnumbered. Sylvain Grala, good save by goalkeeper Ronald Warisan. Tahiti, incredible opportunity to equalize. Warisan saves the day for the host nation. Tehina. Tehau. Palma. Polia out wide. Nui Tehau tries to take on Philip Steven. Beats him. Tahiti outnumbered. Might be a chance. Goal! Sylvain Grala finally gets on the score sheet. Perhaps Tahiti's best attacking player here this afternoon at the Sejongkai Stadium, Papua New Guinea. The home nation shell-shocked at this point in time. In fact, it all started with a cross that was taken by Nui Tehau, which really outnumbered everybody. He beat Philip Steven. And both Comalong brothers had given too much space. Inexperienced by left defender Clement Willis. And it does appear that there may be a substitution for Papua New Guinea, with a change also made in Jay Warren being brought on for Tamotoa Totorua. And for PNG themselves, they make a substitution. And it's PS United striker Alois Richard Alois, sorry, being brought in for Patrick Isa, a straight striker for strikers swap. And it appears that Fleming Siritslev will not be content with this draw, or the scores as they stand at this point in time. Dabiniaba, who scored on the 45th minute, Gralia on 59. And Richard Alois' first contribution is to chase after the ball, although the TAH easily had that covered. Matatia Pama. Tahiti now looking far more comfortable after the equalizer by Sylvain Gralia. Alvin Tehau. Captain on captain challenge. Michael Foster has to be careful. And it might appear another change for Papua New Guinea. Philip Stephen being brought off. And Abel Redinat making his first ever home debut for Papua New Guinea. Plays with the University Inter Club down here in the nation's capital. Tetaira stands over the ball for that infringement by Michael Foster and Elvin Tehau. Got a number of players forward. In fact, Teanui Tehau now switching across to the right hand side. Looks for his cousin Alvin. Touch back in. Come along, has to be careful, wins it. Although it does appear like, yes, it is a corner for Tahiti. Slight bit of complacency by the home defense has just allowed a Tahitian attack. And it's a substitute, Jay Warren. We'll look to curve this one in. Defender Alvin Komolong there, just being warned by Celestin. Jay Warren for Tahiti. Delicately swings it in. Acrobatic there by Tahiti, but they just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. Papua New Guinea have to be very, very careful. They've only got 3 taller players, including the goalkeeper, in their side. The rest of their players don't really have the height advantage that Tahiti do. Manuel Simon looks for Dabiniaba, can't find it. Sylvain Gralia wins it. Tahiti in possession. Teanui Tehau. Good cross coming in. Tahiti with a chance. The Abel Redinat was there. And practically because of a handball on Manari Polier. Warisan. Papua New Guinea looking for the right hand side and the pace of Richard Alois. Alois also winning a throw-in as a result. Papua New Guinea, not too many players in the box. In fact, only one at this point in time. Tahiti just content with conceding another throw-in. Foster. Good cross by Michael Foster. Not really expected by anyone. Sabua swings it, looking for Dabiniaba. Michael Foster is still down. Tahiti now with a massive advantage with 9 players. Gralia calling for it. Although a poor pass by Polier. And Polier right in front of the referee. And it's a yellow card for Manarai Polier. And just a bit of concern for Emmanuel Simon. Emmanuel Simon just being attended to. He had to make the switch from the Hekari club over to Leh City, where he now plies his trade. (1-1) after 65 minutes gone in this Stage 3 OFC qualifier for the 2018 FIFA World Cup to be held in Russia next year. There are a number of other internationals happening at this point in time, including New Zealand versus Fiji and Chile versus Argentina. Alvin Komolong swings that in. Emmanuel Simon back on his feet and couldn't get the volley that he wanted. In fact, apart from that first Sylvain Gralia shot and of course the Dabinyamba strike, both keepers have not really been challenged here this afternoon. Redinut, Dabinyaba, Foster's moving forward. Dabinyaba still with it. The pace of the young man from East New Britain and Oro descent. Grew up in the city of Leh, played with a club called Poro. Emmanuel Simon brought off his feet, and for the second time it's by Manarai Polia. Although Celestine refuses to take out his card. No, he does call him back. Emmanuel Simon over the ball for PNG. Alvin Komolong pushes up as well. His brother Felix is back in defense. Felix himself does have two very young defenders on both his left and right, Abel Redinut and Clement Willis. All three of them surprisingly played for the PNG under 23 squad. Alois Richard is in the box as well. On the edge of it, Jacob Saabua. Two-man wall for Tahiti. Mika Rush on his toes, cross coming in. And it missed everybody. It appears like Alvin Komolong left the ball for Alois Richard, and Alois Richard left the ball for no one in particular. Yet another attacking opportunity by Papua New Guinea wasted. And the bench for PNG just warming up at this point in time, as well as for Tahiti. We have Manuari Hawata, Moana Pito, Rariru on the bench. Sabua down as Tahiti press forward. Komolong under pressure. Chance for Tahiti. It's straight at goalkeeper Ronald Warisan. Jacob Sabua is still nursing his face. Celestine has to call a stop to the match. It was a good strike by Mari Tahina. PNG Dr. Trevor Small has been kept busy this afternoon. Might want to be careful, Jacob Sabua. If he comes out, it does mean that Papua New Guinea are now down to 9 men. And with Ronald Warisan in goal, that means it is very much against PNG's favor to have yet another one of their midfielders out. Flemin Siritslev, of course, pushing his bench to get all warmed up, pressed and ready. He's got a number of attacking options there, including Samuel Keeney. There he is, Flemin Siritslev. Dabinyaba, Foster, Redinut, Foster, Dabinyaba again. Alois Richard calling for it. Dabinyaba couldn't get the back heel that he wanted. Felix Komolong though covers. Alvin Komolong, Foster again. Dabinyaba still in possession. Foster, one touch on. Back out to Dabinyaba. Dabinyaba driving the ball yet again. Tearia has it covered. Bora. Signs of frustration on Dabinyaba. And just a bit of concern. And just a bit of concern there for Tahiti. Mahari Tehina, I think it is brought down. I just have to take a look at what the replay says about that. Dabinyaba, he lost out as a result. And Tehina, Dabinyaba went for the ball in a nasty challenge based on, to an extent, it's just frustration on the faces of Papua New Guinea. They are incidentally one man down. And Tahiti have not necessarily made it very easy. Come along. Over to Dabinyaba. Tehina, good cover. Dabinyaba. Foster. Good turn by Michael Foster. Richard Alois. Dabinyaba. There's 3 players around him. Straight in the center, but there was nobody there for PNG. And Tahiti pressing forward. Goal scorer Sylvain Gralia whips it in. Good stop by Alvin Komolo. Michael Foster. Michael Foster is in free space. He's got Alice Richard on his right hand side. Michael Foster missing an incredible opportunity for PNG. There's only one defender for Tahiti. Come along. Alois Richard has now shifted out wide. Dabinyaba straight in the center. Another one running straight through the center. Emmanuel Simon. Dabinyaba on Tahina. Papua New Guinea pressing forward, but Tahiti do have the chance to Nui Tahau. Clement Willis washed that ball all the way. Clement Willis still with Nui Tahau. Aaron Komalong has to come in. Tahau wins it. Pressure for Papua New Guinea. Might be offside, but play on, says the referee. And Emmanuel Simon just clears it. Papua New Guinea appearing tired at this point in time. They have been working very, very hard. Tahiti, on the other hand, looking very, very fresh. Michael Foster goes for the challenge, but then Papua New Guinea allowing Tahiti space and room to move. Gralia tried to capitalize on that, but just couldn't. Poor cross. And Saritzlev just urging his players on. But with 17 minutes of the match left, you might be wondering if there might be yet another substitution made for the team in red. Harrison out to Sabua. Willis lets it run. PNG still in possession. Alois Richard. Willis just couldn't get there in time. Here he is again. Alois Richard. Although yet another yellow card for Tahiti. The players have to be very, very careful. In general, it's about 6 yellow cards for Tahiti. And Jay Warren, it is the latest recipient. And it appears that there might be a substitution for Tahiti in a defensive position, and it's Ruru. Come along. Now this time looking for only 3 players. Swings it. Dabinyaba. Went over him, but Alois Richard is there. Got a lot of pace, this young man. Back to Dabinyaba, who swings it in. A little too much weight on the ball results in another goal kick for Tahiti. Bora losing out. Emmanuel Simon with it. Jacob Sabua. Foster is there. He's got Dabinyaba drifting in. Tahiti having enough cover. Redinut. Redinut wasn't able to reach the pass back from Nigel Dabinyaba. Papua New Guinea aren't as fluid as they were, especially considering the fact that they have had a host of changes, including new inclusions in the side very recently. As recent, in fact, as 2 weeks ago. With the withdrawal of FC Port Moresby captain Roland Bala, who's still nursing that knee injury, although recently he has been signed with Wellington FC in the New Zealand Premier League. And we'll take a very short cooling break here. Fleming Siritzlev not too happy about that, although he may and will be using this time to give additional instructions to his players. For Ludovic Kronyard. He's hoping to give further instructions. Fleming Siritzlev there, advising each and every one of his players that hold possession of the ball for Michael Foster. He'll most likely be advising him to get further movement. And for Dabinyaba, it will all be about getting movement around the players. Siritzlev pressing and urging his players forward. On the other hand, Ludovic Kronyard, very silent instructions. He knows that there are very few French-speaking Papua New Guineans here in the country, so obviously it'll be very much easier for him. But he won't be happy about the fact that despite having taken on 10 men, that it's his side instead that has been conceding a lot more penalties, which to an extent shows that Papua New Guinea are trying as much as they can to frustrate their Polynesian rivals. And Jay Warren, one of the substitutes there with the ball. Back in for Mika Roche. 78 minutes of play gone here at the Sajongai Stadium in Port Moresby between Papua New Guinea and Tahiti. The score is 1-1. And Tahiti in favor of handball, surprisingly. Many had thought that Clement Willis had let it go. Bora. Rue. Tatara. Jay Warren drives it himself. Though there was enough cover by Papua New Guinea, Reddy not leaving that as a result. Elvin Tahal swished it in, and Ronald Warrison, many had thought that, you would have thought that would have been let go. Corner number 3 for Tahiti in the second half. They've had about 8 in total. Warrison, bit of, might appear that he might have injured himself in that acrobatic turn. Fleming Siritzlev, though, already looking at his bench. He does have 2 midfielders there, although one of those is under 20 player Guise Simon. Another one, though, Samuel Keeney. It might only be a matter of time until we see the Madang FC and former Hikari midfielder come in. And it appears they might be calling for the stretcher. Although Fleming Siritzlev has absolutely no emotion on his face. It almost appears as if he doesn't want them to move. Although he has given instructions to, it appears, Kusaga come along to warm up. Papua New Guinea have two keepers on the bench in Komolong and Ila David, although Ronald Warisan back on his feet after what many in the sport call magic spray. And it's play on, 79 minutes gone, corner for Tahiti, 1-1 at this point in time between both sides. The swinging ball coming in, Dabinyaba clears, Jacob Sabua pushing up, Papua New Guinea all pushing up as well. Warisan has to be careful. Tahau challenged well, but Warisan still maintains possession of the ball. He might be urging his players to move forward. Eyeball up, looking for Alois Richard. Tahiti have that covered in Rue. Willis couldn't get the pass that he wanted to Jacob Sabua. As a result, Tahau beats him. Tahau driving forward, space, chance for Tahiti. Alright, Paulier just put a lot of hearts in mouths at that point in time. If that ball had gone in, Ronald Warisan didn't really have it covered. Warisan, Sabua, Dabinyaba has drifted across, putting a lot of pressure on Amal. Hasty clearance by the Tahitian defender.
Ladies and gentlemen, attendance for this afternoon's World Cup Russia qualifier between Papua New Guinea and
Willis,
4,209. We thank you for
Amal.
your attendance.
Dabinyaba inside the penalty area. Although there was really nobody there. Alois Richard was on the far side, but he had 4 Tahitian defenders in front of him, including the goalkeeper. Could almost say at this point in time, PNG just struggling to find the answers that they need. You have to realize from the last time that PNG hosted an international here, we had a totally different lineup, which included Raymond Gunemba, who was top scorer at the OFC Nations Cup, as well as Tommy Sammy. Manuel Simon. Alois Richard still in possession. Back to Emmanuel Simon. He's now got Michael Foster there as well. Whips it in. Dabinyaba not too happy with the referee's call for a goal kick. Mikael Roche. Slight breeze against him, putting the ball over the halfway line. Papua New Guinea in possession. You kind of get the feeling that at one stage Fleming Sertstev may push another player up front. And to the place of Alois Richard driving in himself. And he wins a corner. Obviously he didn't. He was looking for additional players with him. But again, it does show that Papua New Guinea are very, very dangerous on the counter. Manuel Simon taking his time. And the crowd now slowly chanting, "Go PNG, go." It is much needed at this point in time. 7 minutes, Emmanuel Simon whipping it in, and the crowd now joining the chorus, urging their players on. Come along. Felix to Alwyn. Alwyn to Willis. Simon. Papua New Guinea winning out in almost every one-on-one battle that they've had. Good turn by Emmanuel Simon. Couldn't get the pass that he needed. Michael Foster was free. Sylvain Gralia now pushing forward. Tahau, edge of the box. Gralia going himself against Felix. Come along! Sylvain Gralia from the near post. And Tahiti have shocked Papua New Guinea. Gralia had two other players with him in Nui Tehau and Manarai Polier, both of whom had been drifted in. Alwyn Comalong and Clement Willis had dropped back. And even Ronald Warison, disappointment on his face and elation on Tahiti striker Polier.
Tahiti, number 11, Sylvain Godila, scores now Tahiti 2, Papua New Guinea 1.
And with only minutes left until the end of the match, it is Tahiti 2, Papua New Guinea 1, and a massive away goal advantage with those two scored by the same man. By tomorrow, Papua New Guinea and, well, both countries in fact will be on the plane traveling over to Tahiti. And Tahiti now breaking forward. Alvin Tehau. Alvin Tehau beats Alwyn Comalong. Just a slight bit of disbelief, and we can just see the goal there being scored. Gralia Comalong had been holding back. It did appear like he was going for a cross, although at the end of the day, Warison couldn't cover his near post. And the best of clearances. This is a very inexperienced side compared to last year. 5 of the players today making their international debuts. Tatara, Warren, Comalong. He's got Alois Richard on his left. Richard now with it, but pass poor by Papua New Guinea. It has dominated the gameplay this afternoon. Sabwa holds back. Dabinyaba's drifting forward. Good through ball. But he had no other players there. Great cover by the Tahitian defense. Matati Apama in particular. And Roche just now using his experience to slow the match down for Tahiti. Jay Warren. Gralia on his left inside to Alvin Tehau. Gralia again. He might be looking for a hat-trick. Sylvain Gralia for Tahiti sends it in. And inside the edge of the box, Manarai Polier from point-blank range misses a screamer. And Tahiti just right now dominating in that midfield in third. Papua New Guinea far too spread out. Every time we have possession of the ball, we're too far deep. Felix Comalong just has to hack that ball away. Gronyard instructing his players straight in the center to hold in defense. He knows that a one-goal cushion is all that Tahiti need, especially ahead of that match for next week. Comalong disappointing. Dabiniaba. And Foster just couldn't get there in time. There are some tired legs out there. Dabiniaba. Willis. Not much movement by Papua New Guinea. You have a whole host of players just standing still. And nobody in the midfield at this point in time. A good switch of play by Tamotoa Tataira. Tahiti enjoying a very good spell of possession, especially after that second Sylvain Gralia goal. But not really making too much of it. Again, there's absolutely no movement up front for the team in red. Dabiniaba Manuel Simon is in an offside position. He has to be very careful. Papua New Guinea don't want to lose perhaps what could be the only chance they have, if any, to score a goal. Simon, good turn again, touches it in. English Richard, back heel out to Simon. But again, no players in the box. There's a whole, again, 3 players standing. Simon forced to go back. Jacob Sabwa. But his first touch poor, and as a result, losing out on possession again. Jay Warren, good cover for Tahiti. Wherever you're watching right now, it is 2-1 in favor of Tahiti. Stage 3 World Cup qualifier for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. And again, Papua New Guinea just constantly losing possession in the midfielding area, despite the fact they have 4 midfielders altogether. Only 2 substitutions have been made by PNG. Ronald Warisan going direct. Ronald Warisan passing to nobody. Only moments remain until the end of the match. And again, Mika Roche just taking his time. He does know how important it is, this win for Tahiti, especially getting back. Papua New Guinea's next match is on the 5th of June against the Solomon Islands, which will be held in Honiara. And then a couple of days after that, it will be held on June the 13th, I think, over in Leh. PNG versus Solomon Islands. Sylvain Gualia. Jay Warren is behind him. Warren driving in. Alvin Tehau. Jay Warren. Tehanui Tehau is on his right. Gralia. Warren beats 3 Papua New Guinean players. Have to be careful, and it's goal number 3 for Tahiti. Tehanui Tehau. 93 minutes in, and it is Tahiti 3, Papua New Guinea 1. In fact, when that cross by Jay Warren had been made, the PNG defenders, to an extent, you can just see him there, he beat Abel Redinat. And as it came across, surprisingly, we even had striker Richard Alois dropping all the way back. Foster. Alois again. Disappointment, true disappointment on the fans of on the faces of the PNG fans that made their way here this afternoon. Manuel Simon. Felix Comalong has pushed up, although not necessarily in the position that he would have wanted to be. Only a minute and a half remain until the end of regulation time, or until the end of the match actually. Roche going straight into the center. Comalong pushing up. Ru. Tehau. Stoppage again due to a handball with Clement Willis. Potier. Warren. Tataira. In danger again for Papua New Guinea. Come along. Play on, says the referee. Ronald Warisan, although Not too sure again what happened. Warison brought down inside the box. Alvin TAH. Not too happy about that either. You can just see Polier in possession. Alvin Komalong was brought down. Both Alvin and Nui TAH taking shots on goal. Again, Ronald Warison in trouble. He only appeared in the country about 4 days ago once Lacey Dwellers had completed their OFC Champions League duties. Warison just struggling at the moment. In fact, about 20 minutes ago, he'd been complaining about having issues to do with his shoulder. He might be brought off at this point in time. It looks like a substitution may even be made by Fleming Siritzlev, although to an extent it is too little too late. Kusaka Komalong being brought in. He's already on the sideline warming up. So not necessarily the expectations by those here in Papua New Guinea. Many had been hoping that PNG would have done better than the 2-2 draw which they had against the same opponents last year. However, after Dabinyaba's opener, and then of course Gralia's equalizer, and then that stunning left-footed shot after 65 minutes. It is a substitution, goalkeeper. Yet another Komalong being brought in. There were 3 Komalong boys matching up against the TAH boys from Tahiti. Alvin Komalong. Goes direct this time. You have to admit though, Papua New Guinea have had their own chances to score. And a good save by Clement Willis. In fact, we could almost have been looking at a 4-1 defeat of Papua New Guinea, and referee Celestian calls an end to proceedings. Tahiti victorious with 3 goals over Papua New Guinea's 1. And taking a massive 2-goal bumper ahead of next week's second leg to be held in Papeete, Tahiti. Dabinyaba had scored in the 45th minute, although Gralia's brace did to an extent had bumped up Tahiti's confidence. And that man there, Sylvain Gralia, has worked hard. He's worked very, very hard for his side. In fact, he had more of an input in this match than any of the other forwards that I watched here this afternoon. Papua New Guinea will of course be very disappointed in the result. That man there especially, Fleming Siritzlev, not a man of many words, although he's very, very direct in his approach. Although out of fair play, it is great to see the Tahitian benches coming over. Home fans, including the 12th man, had been hoping for a bigger crowd. Only 4,000 people, or just over 4,000 people, appeared here to watch this OFC Stage 3 qualifier. Disappointing to an extent. Although I'm pretty sure that when the next home game that Papua New Guinea has, which will be against the Solomon Islands, then that will of course be will have a far bigger crowd. And Mikael Roche has performed well. Kept out a number of, or pulled off only a handful of saves though. And the Papua New Guinea fans, they're just very, very disappointed right now. And we have Tahiti captain Elvin Tehau on the sideline with his remarks after the match.
Alvin, okay. Congratulations, Alvin, for this magnificent victory. Can you tell us a little bit about how you feel? Comment vous sentez-vous maintenant?
Très heureux de cette victoire pour la suite et félicitations à tous les copains et félicitations aux PNG qui n'ont pas lâché et qui ont bien tenu le match. Ça a été très dur et on a su jouer au ballon et faire notre jeu et c'est là que ça a libéré des espaces et on a pu marquer en fait début.
Okay, so translation, congratulations to Papua New Guinea for the job well done. And basically both teams played their best today and looking forward to what comes next. Pour la prochaine étape, pour la étape suivante, c'est quoi le plan maintenant?
Toujours le même plan de jeu, on ne change pas, on essaie de toujours essayer de gagner, de ne rien lâcher et j'espère qu'on pourra encore gagner ce match retour chez nous. Et normalement on a l'avantage, on a nos supporters comme la Papouasie ont leurs supporters ici. Et j'espère que ça nous poussera tous les joueurs à se donner à fond et à essayer de gagner ce match encore.
So the step after this, the next plan of game is to go back to Tahiti, and obviously they will have the advantage. So we're looking forward to what comes next. Merci beaucoup pour tout ça et puis félicitations encore.
Merci beaucoup.
Back to you, Jeremy.
Thank you very much, Leanne. Alvin Tehau deputizing extremely well for previous captain Nicholas Valla, who couldn't make it here for this match. But obviously Tahiti in a very good position ahead of next week's match, home match for them this time. Just a reminder that the winner today, Tahiti, are now at the top of Pool B with Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands on one loss, although the Solomon Islands do have a win, or did have a win against Tahiti in the second match, which was also hosted over in Honiara. For the PNG players there, Patrick Guise, Michael Foster, and both come-along boys, including Emmanuel Simon, will be very, very disappointed in their own performance. Let's just take a look at some of the highlights from the second half. That man there, Sylvain Gralia, who did dominate the attack for Tahiti. Ronald Warrison had really to an extent kept Papua New Guinea in the game, although just like the challenge on by Michael Foster, PNG had conceded and tried to create a lot of opportunities themselves. Jacob Sabo with perhaps one of the best chances. Michael Foster there, to an extent, despite the fact that Papua New Guinea were one man down, we did to an extent allow Tahiti to score. This one here, the first goal, the equalizer by Sylvain Gralia. Teanu Tehawa after he beat defender Philip Steven, who was then replaced with Abel Redinat brought on. Now we do have PNG head coach Flemin Siritslev on the sideline with Leanne Gerari. And let's just hear what he has to say regarding Papua New Guinea's 3-1 loss to Tahiti.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Tell us a little bit about how you feel, because obviously this is a great game. Tell us what comes next.
Yeah, of course, it was a great game. Unfortunately, we had more or less our own game spoiled after 15 minutes due to the red card of David Brown. But I actually have to praise the players for keeping the mood high, keeping their heads high. I can't blame them anything. They actually fought the best they could.
So next week in Tahiti, obviously they're going to have a disadvantage because they're going to be in Tahiti's home country. What's the plan?
Yeah, I'm not so sure it'll be a disadvantage. Of course, they are playing at home, but hopefully we will be playing 11v11 all the game. The biggest handicap will be that we have lost tonight our two wingers. David Brown will not be able to play the next match because of the red card, and Nigel Dabinyaba is also suspended due to his second yellow card. So we will have to find substitutions. But for us, it's more a mental problem to raise the players' mood again, because they have shown through at least 1 hour here we are absolutely able to play Tahiti, and we can also win Tahiti.
Any final words?
No, I would like to thank our fans for their great support here tonight in a very difficult game for us.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Jeremy.
And Flemin Siritslev, they're obviously already on his mind planning for next week's match. Hopefully Papua New Guinea will be able to see a lot more players being used, especially considering the number of yellow cards which have been picked up, especially by Michael Foster and Nigel Dabinyaba. David Brown, however, will not feature for PNG versus Tahiti after conceding that direct red card. The final score between Papua New Guinea and Tahiti, the Tahitians having a 3-1 victory over the home side and taking a 2-goal advantage into next week's second leg, which will be held in Papeete, Tahiti. And thank you very much for joining us here in Port Moresby, covering as we look at the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier for Russia. It's a goodbye from us.